Oh, welcome to the Vision Committee meeting for December the 17th? 18th. Okay, so I'm a day behind. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dennehy?
Present.
Councilmember Maloney?
Here.
Councilmember Schmisher?
Here.
Councilmember Stein?
Here.
Councilmember Tracy?
Here.
Councilmember Worthington?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Here.
Mayor Troutman?
Here. So, yes, Tim reminds me I should thank everybody for showing up. We are here with our constituency. That's probably not funny, but anyway. All right, I've had a tough day. I've had a tough day. So, all right, so today we're going to talk, the discussion is with about the 2024 end of year recap, and you all have this very well done and very pretty handout. And we would ask our city administrator, Ryan Stevens, to go forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I want to thank Christy Gotham for putting together the end-of-year recap. She does a great job every year. Before I get into the end-of-year recap, I want to take a moment to thank all of you for the support this year, for all the projects that our city staff puts together and goes out and executes. And I want to thank our city staff. We have roughly 165 employees, and there's a lot of work that they do in the various departments. I have 13 different departments that are directly under me, and some of those have other departments that they supervise as well. And we have a really good staff that goes out and serves the community, and heartfelt appreciation to them and all the hard work that they do over the course of the year. So for 2024, we had many different accomplishments, and I'll get into some of these as we get into the various departments, but we had a lot of software updates that took place over the year, updating our Civic Rec reservation system. So we had a system that we were using for the campground previously. We updated it to a system that we use for our for the website and some of our other systems, and that expanded our ability to take reservations online, not just for the campground, but now we can do it for all of our parks. The museum and the library can use it for their programming. So we're trying to add more functionality and more availability for the customers, for our citizens. Court management system was updated along with the PD and the Tyler system. That took place along with our Fremont's Communications Center, FreeCom. All of these agencies were working together to update this system community-wide. So we saw the Sheriff's Office and several other agencies in the region update some of their computer systems as well. We've updated our financial management system. So that's, again, a big burden on our finance team, and that spreads out not just with our finance team. That's a change of process for how all of our departments submit requisitions and invoices for payment and things like that. So a lot of big changes this year that we've undertaken.
Ryan,
Yes, sir.
the civic reservation system, does that include the pavilions in Centennial Park?
It does.
So you can now go online and reserve a pavilion?
You can go online and submit your request, and then it comes to city staff, and we review it, make sure that nothing's double booked, and that all goes through Denise upstairs.
Very cool.
Yep. Another very big and exciting project this year was the groundbreaking for Visionary Broadband, so adding competition to the internet space for the community. And certainly, from an economic development standpoint, becoming more competitive with some of the Front Range communities that already have some of this lightning fast internet speeds, and they're continuing to work. They'll probably be working on our fiber ring through midsummer of next year. They're already starting to branch out on the commercial side and offering service for commercial service. Where they have already put fiber in the ground, and they'll be branching out to the neighborhoods after all of that. So something that will provide some competition in the internet and broadband space. We had the Highway 50 pedestrian crossing. which added the, several different crossings between 1st and 15th Street. Our IT department also has upgraded some of our cybersecurity, with a lot of cyber attacks on governmental agencies in the news these days. We continue to be very vigilant about, and I know council has seen many of the trainings or may have been caught by some of the spam emails that we send out on purpose to try and educate folks about just how easy it is to make an errant click on a link. Last night, council approved the multimodal master plan. That was a year-long effort to go through that exercise and look at the street system and the transportation system and getting that through. New Method Laundry, that's a project that we have been working on for years, and that project it finally came to a culmination. The building is down, and we have a vacant space there. I think the team that did that work, they did a really good job. They were very methodical about going through that process. The stucco walls on the two exterior sides of the adjacent buildings look really good. It looks really sharp right now. Next item, Parks facility relocation. We've got the building under construction up at the 9th Street and Elm site. Steel is up. They're working on closing it, and we should see that project done probably mid-March to early April. Already mentioned the records management system. The water department, again, this is another one of those ARPA projects where we had some federal money to help update a system that was outdated. They stopped making the components and parts for the system that we had. It was last updated in the 90s, and we took that opportunity to get that updated. Again, we talked about some of the updates that we've done on the IT side. That included a new refresh of the website and some department headers. And then finally, the Clark Station Black Hills property, continuing to work on that. Sent an extension over to Black Hills today for our due diligence period. We're going through that due diligence process, and a couple items that came up that we need to do. We need a little bit more time to evaluate, so send a 60-day extension on that. So we'll continue to work on that project as well.
Could I ask a question real quick? And
Yes, sir.
It has the Parks facility. Do we own that whole lot there?
We do.
Is there any idea what, that building looks it's a big building, it looks kind of small for that chunk of land.
Yeah.
Are there any just future development or future use?
Yeah, so we've got that entire section. We've talked to the Blossom Committee about everything west of there, about whether or not that would be big enough for them to host the carnival there or not. We haven't heard back, but there may still be an opportunity for them to stay up there if that's enough space. Between where the Parks building is going and where the existing Public Works building is going, we have future plans for the water distribution team to expand into a building over on that site. Okay. The site that they share a space with the streets department and have outgrown that space. So that's something that will be coming in the coming years.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Obviously, the big thing, one of the big things this year was the election for the pool. The citizens of Canyon City approved a 0.3% sales tax to support financing of the swimming pool. We are working in conjunction with the Parks and Rec District, who had an initiative passed to finance the construction of a pool. Obviously, there's still the outlying issue of how to operate that. We are working on an IGA with the Parks District, and that will be coming to City Council here in the next meeting or two. From an economic development standpoint, we saw a lot of new businesses or businesses relocate this year. Arby's, obviously a big one on Highway 50. Maverick is going up very quickly over off of Justice Center or Latigo. Saw Schuster's Printing come in. We saw Touch of Love expand to a new location out on Main Street, Whitewater Rooftop Social. I'm not going to go through all of these, but it's always exciting to see all the new businesses coming to town, and certainly 1887 Historic Eatery at the St. Cloud. St. Cloud continues to progress. Expect to see them opening the rooms next year as well, and hopefully in March or April. Building department, we saw a rebound from the previous year. 2023 was a fairly slow year as far as the building department, as far as single-family homes go. We did see almost twice as many single-family home plans come in this year, and continue to stay busy with other licenses, whether they're roof license, roof replacements and things like that, add-ons. Continues to be a very busy department for the city.
Could I ask, and it says 979 permits issued, but it says issued 13 certificates of occupancies. If you build a new house, is that what that means? That it was a new house or 13?
It could be.
That seems low.
It does seem low. I'll have to double check that because I don't know if that included some of our commercial spaces as well, because Arby's would have been a certificate of occupancy as well. I know that we issued some home permits that have not been completed yet. So even though they've been issued, it doesn't necessarily mean that the project's been completed.
Couldn't some of those permits just even be renovations, or, and I don't mean that, renovations, even fencing, because they have to have a permit for that?
Yep, fencing, but we don't issue certificates of occupancy for those. The COs would be for new builds, yep. Our city clerk also stays very busy. We have, obviously Cindy Foster Owens is our city clerk. Denise Warren acts as our deputy clerk. Seeing a lot of activity through that office. 196 CORA requests. That's a lot of CORA requests typically on the building side, but you can see where we have it broken down, all the different things that they do throughout the year. 23 special events licenses, and then we spend, there's lots of training. There's lots of, being up to speed on what the open records laws are, and various things that change at the state level, especially around liquor licensing. We do a lot to stay up to speed on all of those changes at the state level.
Okay, since we're live and hopefully there's an audience watching us besides what's here. CORA, tell us what CORA means.
CORA is the Colorado Open Records Act. So whenever, Councilmember Schmischer, you might have to help me out here. It would be the equivalent of
FOIA, the
FOIA
Federal
request. Yeah.
Information
Okay.
Act request.
Okay, just wanted the public to hear that.
Yep,
So
Thank you.
citizens can essentially write into any of their governments and ask for any records. So in this instance, we had 196 folks or different requests come in to Cindy, which is, it's got to eat up quite a bit of her time.
It does. She organizes those, sends them out to the appropriate departments, and then those departments spend quite a bit of time accumulating all the requested documents so that they can be sent out.
Okay, thank you.
From an economic development standpoint, our small business liaison worked with the Public Art Committee. We worked on a young professionals group this year. There was a lot of work that was done from an urban renewal standpoint, standing up some new grant programs to try and assist building owners and businesses with getting some of our older buildings up to the newer codes. You'll see new method listed on various departments throughout this update, because we had it was a very much a team effort to make sure that the new method project worked out. We've seen a lot of work from our economic development team on the 4 Mile Ranch plan development, working with those developers to get through the city process of submitting a plan development district revision. City Council will see that next year. We're holding a special public hearing on January 9th for Planning Commission to hear those changes, and then from there, we'll see how Planning Commission refers that to City Council. Housing study market analysis was given to council in November, and working on the hotel feasibility study. And then, of course, you've got the picture here of the Build a Bike program, which was a great community event. The community loved it so much that there were community members that decided to do their own to address some of the schools that didn't receive one in the first round. So, and from this picture, there's a lot of different departments here. You have water department here, economic development, the police department, building department, our grant writer Brandy Sheets is there. One thing that I really want to call out is our fleets team came out. We have a department that works on all the city vehicles and mechanics and things like that. They don't get involved in a lot of these types of things, but this was something that they thought that they could lend their expertise to, and very excited to see them come out, and they really enjoyed it as well. And they went to the schools with us and helped the kids learn how to ride their first bike. So it was quite the experience. And then down at the bottom, grants applied for, $7.2 million in grants that we've applied for this year. And we've received, not remembering the exact number right off the top of my head, I think we're in the 1.3 to 1.5 area right now. Rick told me that we have about $5.5 million outstanding where we're still waiting for the decision. So. Engineering department, they work on a lot of different things throughout the year. You're going to see, the multimodal master plan. Safe routes to school is a big one. We have a lot of collaboration with our schools and talking about ways to make, not just safe routes, but even some of our current existing conditions, especially at the high school. One of the grants that we've applied for through CDOT is a demonstration project up at the high school to try and improve some of the crossing right there at Rudd. We're planning on redoing college. That's currently under design. Now's the time to try some demonstration stuff and see what works and see what the community's response is. So you'll see that early next year as well. The Rhodes Avenue Stormwater Project, 80% complete. We're hoping to finish that project, with Atmos doing their improvements and moving their lines right now. As long as they can stay on schedule, we should be able to complete that project this year. And then, engineering department, they're also the team that's out there inspecting the contractor's work in the public right-of-way, issuing the right-of-way licenses and things like that. They also review subdivision plans that come in, and making sure that the subdivisions are built to what those plans say. Our 2A projects, again, 2A is the 1% sales tax for new streets or reconstruction of streets. We had Pear Avenue, 5th Street, Harrison. Currently working on the bid for 1st and Main Streets. That will come to City Council. That bid actually opens on Friday, so that should come to the City Council on the January 6th meeting. And then continuing to work on the design for the next round of streets, which are 9th Street from Mystic north to the city limit, College Avenue between 15th and 9th, and Griffin. Our facilities department, we've got 2 people in our facilities department that manage all of the city buildings. These guys are busy guys. They are always running. They're working on, finishing out some of the improvements to City Hall that we've talked about. They worked on, pardon me, Worked on some of the roof replacements at the museum, and that was Jim before he left, getting those bids out. They assisted with some of the homeless cleanup. And then working on our ADA transition plan. So always working to make sure that we've got clean and safe facilities. The big one for finance is Springbrook. That's a project that continues to work. The finance system has been changed. We're working on utility billing and the sales tax modules. So those will be implemented next year. One of the benefits for having the new finance system is offering ACH payments for our vendors, so they don't have to wait for the checks anymore, and offering credit card payments for many of the things that we weren't able to offer credit card payments before. So when somebody comes in to pay for a building contractor license, they don't have to bring cash or a check anymore. They can pay with a credit card. They can pay online. So really trying to modernize some of our finance systems. And of course, we were awarded an award for the 2023 audit. Human Resources worked really hard, improved our CIRSA audit score. We were over 100 this year. 100 is the top level, but you can earn extra credits by having additional trainings and providing additional resources for staff and trying to take extra accountability for safety purposes. Yes. Launched the merit pay program and implemented a new performance management system in 2024. IT, I mentioned at the very beginning all of the different programs that were upgraded this year. IT has been extremely busy. We put a moratorium on most new software implementations until they can catch up, give them some time to catch up and do some of the other things that they normally do. Pardon me. Our library always does a fabulous job. Over 50,000 visitors come through Macon Plaza to visit the library every year. We've obviously lost our beloved library director, Suzanne Lasher, this year, and it was very, very sad and hard for the community and for city staff. She was a mainstay for a very long time at the library. We have promoted Kendra McFall, who was the deputy director, and she has promoted Adam Gonzalez to be the deputy director. He was our children's librarian, and he is going to be taking the Kendra's place there. So we're continuing to see some involvement and staff development there within the library, and very excited to see that.
While you take a minute there, when Kendra was named, I wrote her a short congratulatory note and said, let's see, Librarian Mary's Cowboy. There's got to be a musical in there somewhere.
Very true. Our Museum and History Center, they do a great job running programs every year. Of course, there was the fossil discovery a couple years ago. They worked with BLM to get some funds to stabilize those fossils so they can be displayed. They're currently working on updating their software system as well, past perfect, from a PC-based software to an online-based software. Spoke about municipal court earlier. Their big task this year was getting the Tyler system in place and the court management system. They're continuing to work on that and work out the kinks. It is a big task for all of these departments that had to update for the Tyler system. Our parks and open space, we've got new trail that was constructed up at Temple Canyon, Rand Canyon Park. and of course, the new parks facility. I think this picture was taken, it may have just been taken last week or the week before. We updated the tennis court lighting at Rudd and Centennial Park to LEDs, so that should help with some energy savings. And then also integrated smart water technology in some of the parks, which has seen 25% water savings as well. We're going to continue with that next year.
Is that, have we seen that, or is that what we're thinking it's going to be? It's actual?
That is what we saw.
Wow.
Yes,
That's actually pretty big.
it is.
Yeah.
Let's see, planning and zoning, you know, we've got the big subdivisions that, or the big subdivision revision that came through, working on projects like 4 Mile, the Abbey, and then rezoning variance requests, food trucks, and updates to Title 17.
With regard to the zero accessory dwelling unit ADUs and zero SRUs, is that due to the new process that we have for them not requiring the same type of approval? Or did we really have zero requests?
We
for
had
new-
0 requests this year, which was unusual.
Okay. Do we attribute that to anything in particular, or?
I don't, you know, not off the top of my head. Construction costs probably, but, you know, nothing from a legislative standpoint. We've made it easier in Canyon City to do an ADU review.
Thanks.
We'll have an update from the PD in January, but, you know, I continue to be impressed with the PD and everything that they do. They do a lot from a community engagement standpoint. Obviously, there's a lot of requirements from a training standpoint to make sure that, you know, they're compliant with everything that they need to be compliant with for post. Shop with a Cop, I mentioned it on Monday, was a huge success. Over 200 volunteers helping out 100 kiddos. You see at the bottom of this page, over 2,100, almost 2,200 hours of work for these various events, and you know, trying to make sure that people see our PD in a positive light and that we're there to help when needed.
Again, when you said the flock, that citywide surveillance camera system, it's city-owned at various places, is that correct?
It is. It's, I'm going to say city-owned, but it's through a license agreement.
Right.
But yes, those are placed throughout very strategic locations in the city. I'm not going to talk about the actual locations, but they have assisted in stolen vehicles. They've assisted in reports from other communities that have led to positive police action.
Yeah, thank you.
Christy Gotham, our public information officer, she does a great job monitoring social media, but also, you know, responsible for helping with a lot of our public engagement and public outreach. Worked on our department update to the website, the website refresh, along with many other things. Managing our archive social, which catalogs all of our social media and across all of the social accounts, not just the city accounts, but also the police accounts, the library, museum. If we have a city social media account, it's all attached to that. Stormwater, well, we have you know, a requirement to provide education under our MS4 permits, and it's a rundown of some of what that looks like. We do a lot of inspections, and there's a lot of commercial property that have stormwater features built into their sites, and we do those annual inspections to make sure that they're functioning the way that they're supposed to. And really making sure that people know what that MS4 permit is and why it's important to protect the waterways. Our streets and stormwater maintenance, the stormwater maintenance crew was something that City Council, thought would be important to add, and Jim Johnson, our former Fleets and Facilities Director, it was one of his suggestions was to add that vac truck. We did some demonstrations and we saw that some of our stormwater drains were 90% clogged, and this is, I believe this is maybe the third full year of the stormwater program, and we're seeing a lot better drainage from the system now that we have a very good maintenance program where these things get cleaned out. We try to touch every outlet at least once per year. Of course, the streets department, not to be outdone, they filled about 4,800 potholes this year, 713 more than last year. We always encourage folks to call or enter a pothole complaint on C-Click Fix so that we can address them. Tony and his crew, they do a really good job. They try to get those filled within 72 hours of them coming in on C-Click Fix. So, of course, it depends on the weather and what else we have going on, but that's always the goal. And then the leaf pickup, 46.6 bobtail loads of leaves picked up this year during the annual leaf pickup. Our water department was extremely busy this year, replacing a lot of linear feet of old line. And we saw that on Pear with the 2A construction, Doris Drive, which was notorious for a lot of leaks, and we were finally able to get over there, get that taken care of. 34 water leaks this year. The big project for Travis Payne, our water superintendent this year, was the water master plan and rate study. We're still finalizing that, but that took a lot of bandwidth from him this year, and Leo Evans, our public works director. Continuing to work on that lead service line inventory. We had some positive news from the American Public Works Association. I can't remember which association was. It's one of the water associations, where they've provided the feds an opinion on lead service lines and whether or not municipalities and government entities should be responsible for the private side of the line, and hoping to see that we that continue to be evaluated at the federal level, because it's never been done before. It's never been mandated that the government has to take care of that private line. There's just too many affordability issues to consider there. For 2025, we've got a lot of projects going on. Osprey Court, that drainage channel's being rehabbed. The 8th and Pine hydraulic ditch crossing. Mentioned some of our 2A projects already. I know it's probably been almost 2 years, but we talked about the pickleball courts, and that project is in the budget for next year. Continuing on Rhodes Avenue. The new reservoir feasibility study, working with the Army Corps of Engineers for the project over at Griffin. Leo Evans, our Public Works Director, he told me today that he got a call directly from Congresswoman Pedersen, letting him know that, I can't remember the word, I think is the abbreviation. I don't remember what it stands for, but that passed the Senate today. So it does not necessarily directly allocate funds, but it puts us in line for future funds. And then continuing on with our 2A projects, we've got water main projects that go along with those projects as well. And then the Highway 50 lighting projects, we do actually anticipate seeing movement as far as construction this year.
I know that there are way too many major projects anticipated in 2025 dimension, but I did just want to check in on the Clark Station master planning effort and the Centennial Park master planning effort. I know that was one of the GOCO grants that our grant writer was able to secure. So that is
It
in the
is,
works for
yes,
this
that
coming year.
that is in the works as well. That will be tied with the purchase of the WN Clark Station property.
On that, water main projects, Harding, will that street then be paved or just where the new water line goes in?
It will be. We've got Harding on the 2A project list as well.
And I know there are two lots at least. Maybe we shouldn't discuss it here, but they are for sale, building lots. Would the thought be to bring that water line in so we have to dig up the street whenever they sell? Is that something we could look at?
Yeah. When we go out to talk to property owners, we try to encourage folks to go ahead and put in those taps if they expect that there's going to be some development there. We do the same thing when we're talking to folks on Main Street with the Main Street construction as well. We're going to be talking to people about adding fire lines and whether or not that should be done. That's one of the things that we're evaluating for the New Method lot as well, is whether or not we should be putting in a fire line there, because that is one of the things that we had agreed to is future development of that site with the Historic Preservation Commission. So those are all things that we're considering, and if you have folks that we should reach out to about that, please let me know.
And then the other thing is that big gas line that's being going on Main Street, that was a fairly new street that we put in there with, is that going to be completely redone or just the footprint wherein they put the pipe in? Is that?
So, some of it was scheduled to be redone when we finished the Rhodes Avenue project, so it will
Okay.
be milled and overlaid.
All right, okay.
Yep.
Just a comment, I think one of the missing sheets we have in this presentation, which was very nice and comprehensive, but I think perhaps for next year, one of the things that the city does, and through council, is the community agency funding. And it would be really nice, because what we're doing there, in my view, is empowering our citizens to be successful in their nonprofit and kind of voluntary type efforts. It'd be nice to have a sheet on that of what the successes in the community agency funding have been for the year.
I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, well, I'll let Christy know to put it on a note for next year. Thank you.
I think one other request I might have for next year is I loved seeing the numbers where we did have them, and there were quite a few more this year than we've had in past years. And I would just ask that if there are ways to incorporate the city level balance scorecard that we have that's been fully approved, and kind of what progress are we making on those city level
Yeah.
benchmarks, that would be really helpful to see.
We can do that too.
Excuse me, we were having a sidebar over here, I guess you would call it. So, Emily, did you have something to add? I see your hand up, Emily. There you go.
Well, I only put it up when you asked.
Oh, I see.
No, I would just comment, I really appreciate the presentation. It helps all of us, I think, to look back over what we've been we, the city, and particularly staff, have been working on over the past year. So really helpful, and I think the suggestions are good too, to add in about community agency funding and some of the specific contracts that we do, like with Humane Society and the Chamber. Maybe just touching on those two, but there's a lot, and there may be other things that we're forgetting too. There's really a lot that the city does every year, and greatly appreciate the work that staff does. I don't think you have any spare time. When I say you, I mean all of you. It's a lot of work.
Thank you, Emily. It's been a year. It seems to me we've done a lot. It oftentimes mixed between our personal life, our business life, and then all the reading that I know you do, and I'm astounded at you people on council that catch all those things that I read through, and I personally appreciate it, and I thank you personally for that, and to staff. Good bunch. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Any other questions of Ryan? If not, then have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next year. We're adjourned.
Merry Christmas.